I no longer trust some people, those I once loved and cherished. An unsettling feeling looms over me, as if someone is constantly watching my every move. I don't understand what's going on, but if anything happens to me, I have just one request. Check my will. And if it's not the one I wrote, then what? What if I told you that Gene Hackman, the Hollywood legend who the world has always bowed to for his talent and career, once felt like a victim of a brutal betrayal, a plot orchestrated by his own family? This story may sound unbelievable, but the truth is stranger than fiction. The police reopened the case after a shocking statement from a neighbor. What they discovered beneath the basement of his Santa Mansion estate will leave you astonished. A secret that had been hidden for years was finally revealed, and the clues gradually pointed to the fact that Hackman's death was not as simple as everyone thought. What really happened in that house, and who is behind all these secrets?
If you're curious about this story and want to uncover more chilling secrets behind Gene Hackman's death, don't forget to hit like, share this video with your friends to follow along with the thrilling details. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any exciting videos from us in the future. Now, let's dive into the story. A secret box hidden behind a false wall became an obsession. Clues and suspicions pointed directly to Leslie and his daughter. This wasn't an accident, it was a perfect crime. Hollywood was shaken to its core. Did she pursue her father's multi-million-dollar fortune, or is there an even darker secret buried beneath the surface? Did Gene Hackman's bitter ex-wife, embittered by their decades-long divorce, conspire with Leslie Ann for a cold-blooded revenge plot? What's inside the mysterious box in the basement? The answer could shock you. Are you ready to face the truth? Join us on this journey in search of justice for Gene Hackman. In late February 2025, the world was shaken by the mysterious death of Gene Hackman, the two-time Oscar-winning legend, and his wife, the talented pianist Betsy Arakawa. Their bodies were found in a lavish home in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Something was wrong, as she was completely cut off. Completely cut off. Although the authorities initially provided an official cause of death, the persistent mystery surrounding their passing left the public restless. Questions about their death remain unanswered. Just when the case seemed to fade in the collective sorrow of the fans, new witnesses and evidence unexpectedly surfaced, forcing the police to reopen the investigation. A sealed wooden box filled with handwritten documents and a USB drive containing recordings made by Gene Hackman in the days before his death were discovered. The notes and recordings shattered all previous conclusions reached by the authorities. And then, the killer was exposed. A person no one could suspect, a character extremely close to the couple. Who was this person? What twisted motive drove them to commit such a cruel act? What dark secrets are hidden in that mysterious wooden box? Join us as we begin an exciting journey to uncover the truth, from a seemingly natural death to a cleverly orchestrated murder plot by the last person anyone would imagine. The investigation resumed as the police meticulously examined each page of the case files, the evidence collected from the scene, witness testimonies, and forensic reports, leaving no detail overlooked. They hunted for abnormalities, unresolved questions, and clues that slipped through the cracks. The involvement of the dog in the house was a crucial sign. A major breakthrough came when detectives obtained footage from security cameras and nearby homes, faint shadows of figures running around Hackman's house in the days following his death. The last heartbeat of Gene Hackman was recorded by his pacemaker. A car parked near the curb for several hours, and motion sensors inside the house were triggered at odd times, but the front door remained undisturbed. A sharp young officer proposed a theory, quickly agreed upon by the whole team. 3 possibilities emerged to explain the mysterious sensor activity. First, the movements of the 2 surviving dogs might have triggered the sensors when they passed through the living room or near the windows. Second, it could have been the final movements of Gene or Betsy before their lives ended. And third, the creepiest possibility, someone had snuck into the house. But why were there no signs of a break-in? The police meticulously analyzed and ruled out the first 2 theories. The movements of the dogs and the final actions of the victims couldn't explain the strange patterns in the sensor data or the bizarre circumstances of their deaths. The theory that the dogs triggered the sensors was dismissed upon realizing that if Gene and Betsy had died, the surviving dogs would have behaved differently, instead of wandering through unrelated areas of the house. When the police arrived, the dogs showed no signs of injury or distress, proving they were not frightened by anything unusual. The second theory that the sensors recorded the final movements of Gene or Betsy quickly collapsed. If the couple had been in critical condition or about to die, their movements would have been weak and confined to a small space, not spreading throughout the hallway, living room, or near the windows. The widespread activation of the sensors indicated purposeful movement, not the staggering steps of someone on the brink of death. Depending on the cause of death, they might not have had the chance to move much. For example, a sudden attack could have rendered them helpless before they could react. This made the theory of an intruder the most plausible possibility. The lack of forced entry through the door suggested that the perpetrator had a key, or knew a secret way in. The sensor data showed purposeful movement, hinting at a motive related to a close connection with the victims. With this revelation, the investigation suddenly shifted focus to those closest to the couple, with Leslie Ann Hackman, Gene's second daughter from his first marriage, immediately coming under suspicion. So why did the police target Leslie Ann Hackman as the prime suspect so quickly? The first clue came from her phone records. Leslie claimed her last conversation with her father occurred weeks before his death, insisting everything was fine. But the evidence painted a completely different picture. The phone log showed no calls, texts, or voicemails between father and daughter for several months. Then, a financial bombshell dropped. Just days before Gene Hackman's death, someone had accessed his sensitive financial documents. Pages were missing signatures, misaligned, and Leslie's name appeared repeatedly. She had initiated legal steps requesting account details and made shady moves to redistribute the assets. Why was she in such a rush to rearrange her father's estate when he had been missing for weeks? She was also in Santa Fe during that time. Security footage from local stores confirmed her presence, despite her firm denial to the police. This timing was not only suspicious, but also involved careful planning. Another unusual finding emerged during a search of the crime scene: a concerning shortage of medication. Gene Hackman, with a history of heart disease, was supposed to follow a strict medication regimen to manage his condition, but when the police searched the house, they found no prescriptions. This wasn't a case of misplaced medicine. If the medication ran out, there would have been additional orders, but there were none. If he had stopped taking his medication, there would have been leftover medicine, but there was none. It appeared the medication had been deliberately removed. If you were surprised by this story, leave a comment with the number 1, and if not, leave a comment with the number 0. Now, let's continue this intriguing and mysterious story with us. Investigators began to entertain a chilling possibility. If Gene Hackman's death wasn't caused by some external force, but by a more calculated plan,
Could someone have deliberately neglected him, not through violence or neglect, but by letting his condition worsen uncontrollably?
Investigators began to piece together a theory. A passive, slow method was used. No bloodshed, no immediate harm, but a cunning strategy of abandonment, mercilessly carried out to execute a larger plot, such as seizing the estate. Inside the sealed box were dozens of handwritten notes, many with precise dates, along with a sealed package labeled Top Secret, containing a password-protected USB drive. When digital experts cracked it, they discovered voice recordings of Gene Hackman himself. Despite his fatigue, long pauses, and labored breathing, his voice remained sharp and clear in the recording from 6 months ago. When Gene passed away, he spoke with grave intensity. "I no longer trust some people, those I once loved. I feel like I'm being watched. I don't know what's going on, but if anything happens to me, check my will. It's not the will I wrote." Forensic analysts confirmed the authenticity of the USB recording, which also contained a scanned copy of an alternate will, detailing clear instructions to transfer his entire estate to Betsy, establish a scholarship fund, donate to charity, and leave nothing to Leslie Ann. Even more damning, this document was signed, dated, and witnessed many months before his death. A financial audit of Leslie Ann's accounts completed the chilling picture. Money had started to move weeks before Gene's death was made public, quietly being withdrawn abroad or transferred to shell companies. The amounts were too small to raise alarms, but together they revealed a calculated accumulation. She had opened accounts, filed legal documents, and started transactions to redirect assets, pointing to a plan she had been creating for months. Armed with this massive evidence, the police quickly issued an official arrest warrant for Leslie Ann Hackman. She faced a series of charges including financial fraud, obstruction of justice, forgery of legal documents, and conspiracy to seize the inheritance. In court, prosecutors revealed a chilling timeline spanning several months. Every action Leslie Ann took aligned with the final days of her father's life. This wasn't coincidence or desperation, but a ruthless strategy. The court delivered a swift and accurate verdict. Leslie Ann was convicted on multiple charges, stripped of any claim to Gene Hackman's estate. All the money she had withdrawn was seized and redirected to charity activities that Gene had quietly protected throughout his life. Gene's life became a haunting will, a reminder that no fame or wealth can protect us from the invisible daggers wielded by those we trust the most. This is not just a family tragedy, it is a stark warning to all of us. Be cautious of those around you, as sometimes the greatest danger hides in the one we least expect. So what do you think of this tragic ending to the story of Gene Hackman and his wife? Gene Hackman spent his life delivering unforgettable performances to the world, but his final role seemed to be one he never signed up for. The victim of a crime orchestrated by his own daughter. What a sad farewell to a legend. Gene Hackman has closed today's video. We want to sincerely thank you for staying with us and supporting our channel. What do you think about Leslie? Does she feel remorse, or are there still secrets waiting to be uncovered? Leave your comment below. If this story intrigued you, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share the video with everyone around you. See you in the next videos.